what I wanted to do was present a little tutorial about ApeScript. Now, you can run ApeScript through the Noble Ape simulation. You can actually run ApeScript standalone as well through the command line environment. But here I'm going to show it running through the Noble Ape simulation. So let's give a brief introduction to what we're actually looking at here specifically. So if you look at the Noble Ape cognitive simulation, which, let me just pause it, is this rotating thing here. Each of the Noble Apes have a 32 by 32 by 32 cell brain, for want of a better term, although they also have language, which is represented in brain code, language and a bunch of additional stuff in the brain code. So that is executed as well. So you have two things that are being executed. Look at that transition there. Just started internally. This is the internal brain code simulation, the external brain code simulation. So this is what they're thinking about internally, and this is who they are, what they will speak to others. Anyway, we're not talking about that today. We are talking about the cognitive simulation here, which models fear and desire through what is referred to as the identity now. This is written about here in the Noble Ape simulation manual, nobleape.com/man. Not gender specific, just short for manual, and Linux terminology, which, Unix terminology, which may now be, maybe its time has come. Maybe we should call it, I don't know what we'd call it. Anyway, doc, perhaps, doc. Anyway, so the introduction to ApeScript explains how ApeScript is written, explains the background language. It's just a basic scripting language, but each bit of code is run as a single time cycle. So what you're doing here is creating a time cycle for the Noble Ape simulation. This is the stuff that you can access through the simulation currently. We might add more stuff through this, but this is the basics. So you can look up the biological environment based on where the ape is. It can access a lot of actually quite interesting primary information. It could also put points out in space and test those points. For example, is there water, or can you see between those points and where the ape is currently looking? Obviously, there's some limitation to that associated with the distance that the Noble Ape can see. But there's a bunch of additional stuff here that you can program. And that's really what ApeScript is about. And a small number of errors, just a very small number of errors. You can reach this, actually, the document, let me just scroll it up. When I say there's a small number of errors, I'm not really lying. There really is only a small number of errors that can run in ApeScript. So you may wonder, how do you actually get ApeScript to run? So as I was talking about the cognitive simulation here, what you can do here is you can open files in ApeScript specifically. So ApeScript, with a bit of luck. Okay, so this shows where I downloaded previously. Where is it? Noble Ape. Documentation. And here we have examples. So there are a bunch of different examples here. But the one I'm going to select here is Brain Flash, because this is easiest to see. So currently it's daytime, so as soon as we unpause the simulation, we will get a debug run of the simulation. So that's in the downloads directory. Let's put it here. Let's put it as example Brain Flash. So let's see what this actually does. Well, we can do this in two ways, but let's pause the brain for now. Oh, it's night. Well, it's not really night. I wonder, yes, it's being executed. So it's kind of hard to see here. But what Brain Flash does is it puts a diagonal. So you might see just here as it comes around here, there's a diagonal set of lines that goes through the Noble Ape cognitive simulation and just flashes those lines. I think there might be 8 or potentially 16 lines that go through here. And that's all it's doing. It's just showing that you can actually affect an element of the brain state directly. So let's have a look at what Brain Flash actually looks like here. So here we have, well, let's do this two parts. We want to also see the Brain Flash code, don't we? So documentation. So where is it? Examples. Brain Flash. No, most basic Brain Flash. There we go. So we want Brain Flash. And also, that was one that we output a little earlier. Let's get the one that we outputted just now. So, I'm not. So what you see here is the actual Brain Flash code. So what it's doing is it's going through the brain diagonally And every 4, so it's 8 total. Every 4 points diagonally through the brain, it's setting the value either at 255 or 0, which will create the flashes that you see. So that's the code. This is the debug run of the code, which just explains through a single time cycle what the various things are set to. Let me move this up here a little bit so we can get it. The final end, it sets the energy to full. So this here unpacks to this here, which is the debug example of that. And that shows, it running through the 8 cells. So this is cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, cell 4, cell 5, cell 6, cell 7, cell 8. And then makes it to 32 and sets the energy to be full. And because it's not below the energy, it still leaves it in place, which I think is what it does. Let's see. Yeah, if the energy is less than full, if energy is less than full, then make the delta energy that, which moves it back up to being full. So anyway, that's an example of very basic ApeScript. I can show you some other ApeScript here. What's some other examples? So, right, we've looked at the brain flash. This emulates a random brain, so it just adds the random values in. We can take random values and mod them accordingly. This creates an infinite loop, which is interesting just to see what ApeScript will do in these circumstances. This tests at a point, I think, located in the future, if the ape is visible. Oh, it checks the visibility between the current ape and all the other apes that it can see. This is the most basic ApeScript. What it's doing here is just making sure that the energy doesn't drop. If you don't write this in ApeScript, then it's possible for the Noble Apes to starve very rapidly because their deltas of energy basically take their energy. And this shows you how you would test a biological operator. Which biological operator is it? Maybe it goes through and tests a group of biological operators. So what it does is it takes a group, I think, across the landscape. Biology in, out, test X, Y, step. What is the value of the biological operator? Let's actually try running this and see what comes through that. So we've got this up and running. Let's unpause it. Let's try running the biological operator. 1. Where is it? Noble Ape, documentation, examples. Now I haven't tried this one previously, which is, where is it? Test operator. Okay, so I think it's daylight, so we unpause it. We've got to rerun the sim. Okay, not quite as planned. Let's do this again. Because we've already used our one debug. So let's open the script again. Maybe just hitting new, creating a new landscape would be good enough. Where is it? Test operator. Okay, now we have an output. Downloads, example test operator. Let's see what this comes out as. Okay, where are we? So, maybe one more, actually a few more. Test operator. So this goes through, and gosh, it's quite a few points, and it's testing the operator at all these points basically. So it's just going through a grid and saying what's the value of a particular biological operator. Now if we go back here, we might find out what the biological operator is. Where is it? Test operator. So what it's doing is it's testing all the operators from I believe, yeah, 0 to 4. So we need to see what biological operator does in this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's stepping through. So 0 to 4 are the biological operators being tested. So we go back here, and where is it? What's the code specifically we were looking up? Biological operator. So we need to know what biological operator does. So we go here, we find the code, biological operator. Okay. So this can either be set or read from. And I think, if I'm right, let's see, introduction to ApeScript, scripting simulation, ApeScript notes. Okay, so these are just additional tasks that I wrote, like ApeScript best practices. Okay, contents. Where are we? File format, perhaps? No, this is about the file format. This is actually the old file format. It now uses JSON, so more documentation to rewrite as found on YouTube. Where do you find the biology list here? Okay, so this explains the console. These are actually generated from the console. I should rewrite this and I'll give the memory one that I just added. Okay, so you need to actually go back to the simulation to work out what the operators are, unless here. So what we're going through is probably 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's these 4, I would say, are the 4 that are being read specifically. So you go back to the ApeScript code, and you can probably write a check in here. Test operator. And at each operator step, you could do an explicit check against one of these to confirm it. Might be nice to do to add the debugging associated with which of these the biological operator was set to. Anyway, so this gives some idea of ApeScript, gives some idea of what's available for ApeScript and running it within the Noble Ape simulation. And happy to take any questions or comments, so please feel free to utilize the YouTube comments section to ask questions.